とんだ茶番だ。それにしてもあの男、何か気のような力を放っているのか。
Hi guys, I'm TheMainManSWE and welcome to my guide on Kazuya Mishima for Tekken 7. I've been playing Kazuya for 20 years, not at a high level for 20 years, but that's how long I've been playing this character and Tekken, ever since Tekken 1. I really love him and I hope this guide helps you to understand the character more and perhaps even make you love him more, like I do. So hopefully you enjoy it. So, first off, I'm gonna do a quick breakdown of the character and say that Kazuya is arguably the hardest character in the game. He relies on fundamentals and good defense, and that's some of the hardest stuff to acquire in Tekken. So first off, his main move that he uses more than Daijin and Heihachi is the Electric Wind God Fist. This is a just frame. It's very hard to do, and you're going to have to be able to do this on both sides. And then we have movement here, which is super difficult to acquire. It's one of the hardest aspects of Tekken. Kazuya needs a super good movement. He requires it. Without it, you can't play the character. I'm gonna explain why soon. And he has no apparent panic moves. You know, like awesome hop kicks or moves that evade a lot. He has back 1-2, but that evades very little. It's more of a cute novelty move. So no panic buttons. And as punishing is such a big thing for him, he requires, and defense, he requires knowledge of pretty much the entire cast to play. So not only do you have to know Kazuya, you have to know 40 other characters who have about 100 moves each, and you have to learn how to deal with those. When to duck and twin piston. When to step and electric, or step 1-1-2. When to backdash away from a horrible string that's very annoying. All of this you must know to utilize his amazing punishment. So this is a case for why Kazuya is very difficult. So, as I mentioned, Kazuya is a lot about movement, spacing, and incorporating electrics. If you want to know more about the electric and some mind games that come with that move, please check out my EVGF guide, which you can find in the description below. It will tell you everything you need to know about the move, how to do it, the different variations, why we do the different variations, and why the EVGF is one of the best moves in the game. And Kazuya, as I said, relies a lot on that move. And he relies a lot on his amazing punishment. Here I have a recorded while standing 2 from another Kazuya, his twin brother. That move is -18, so I can punish it really hard. But I'm just going to show the different options Kazuya has. For 10 frame, he has 1-1-2, which is really good. And then we have back 1-2 at 11 frames, even more damage. And Kazuya, at 13 frames already, he can perfect electric. But a regular electric is 14 frames, so a great move. So his punishment is far above average. And of course, with the 13 frame twin pistons, the package is complete. And he has some decent poking, which we must utilize. He has down for 2 here, which is a 14 frame counter hit tool. It's very powerful and it's also homing, so it will shut down people sidestepping. So it's one of his key moves. We have forward 4, which is +3 on block, and on hit it's like +6, so it's a very good move. While standing 4, also great poke. Down back 4, great poke. Forward 4, great poke. More on this later. And he has some awesome frame traps I'm gonna show as well. And then, of course, one of the biggest reasons we play Kazuya is his 50-50. What 50-50 means is that you have a mid option and a low option that are both so fast that the opponent has to guess which one's coming. You can't duck or block on reaction. You just cannot block them on reaction. So forward 3 here is a mid launcher. And, of course, he has the Hell Sweep, which is a very strong unseeable low move that will do a chunk of damage and put your opponent in a very bad position. They land on the ground, which you're recovering quite fast, so you can do a pretty decent ground game there. So this, what I just mentioned, in a nutshell, is what Kazuya is about. And it was quite simple, wasn't it? I didn't say a lot of stuff. That went very quick. So it's very fast. It's one thing to explain what Kazuya is, but to put this into practice and master this stuff, what I just said is going to take you, if you work really hard, in 1 year, you might do okay. And I know that sounds very dramatic, but he's just that hard to play. Yes, so I do want to talk more about the electric. I'm gonna set the opponent to standing guard. So, as you can see, and I hope you've watched the EVGF guide now, because all I'm going to say now is a recap of that guide. Everything you need to know is in that guide, so check it out, please. Thank you. So, EVGF +5 on block. This creates enormous pressure. So it also is one of those moves that, even if it doesn't connect, it's still quite a good situation for you. I mean, when it connects, it launches, but here on block, good knockback and good advantage. So you can run in, go for a mix-up, unless the opponent steps, which Kazuya is very vulnerable to. We will talk more about this later. But just know that the electric is one of those moves that you just have to master. I hear a lot of people ask me, like, oh, is it possible to play Kazuya without the electric? I really like the character, but I find the electric to be too hard to do. Not really. You are going to need the electric. It's just that important. It's his most important move, and just the fact that he has the fastest electric in the game. So it's just one of those moves that create enormous amounts of pressure. You do want to be able to block punish with it. Kazuya doesn't have an easy mode launch from standing, you know, like Devil Jin's down 3+4 can. Kazuya relies on the electric to launch punish well. So I'm not going to talk any more about the electric. I'm just once again going to direct you to my EVGF guide. We are going to talk now about Kazuya's 50-50, which is one of the key aspects of a character. And now I'm just going to speak briefly about what I mentioned previously, which is the Kazuya's vulnerability to sidesteps. If someone steps to the left all the time, all Mishimas have a hard time, but especially Kazuya with his rather weak poking and his 50-50 and electric. Everything is completely steppable to the left. So I am going to record a sidestep left, like this. And as you can see, whiff. Note that the hell sweep just completely whiffs, and now he's at my back. That's not a situation you want to be in. He's at my back. Same thing. Note how linear forward 3 is. Note how quickly he is at my back. Forward 4. Forward 3. Very steppable. Forward 4. Forward 4 is one of those moves that does slightly better here, but it's still very steppable, as you can see. Electric. Oh shit. So, recap. Kazuya very vulnerable to sidestep left, as you can see. And this is where we want to throw in a couple of homing moves. I'm going to talk about those when I get into poking. But right now I'm going to talk about the 50-50. But just remember that Kazuya's 50-50, every good player is going to want to sidestep it. Because it's not a good idea to guess low or mid. That's not very good. So they will sidestep so they don't have to guess. They will dodge your 50-50. So in these instances you want to go with homing moves, but if they do not step, or when you are in a situation where, oh, he has just tech rolled, I can do my 50-50, then this is what you will do. Either you do forward 3, which as I showed previously it launches for full combo damage, Or you can do Hell Sweep, which is the meaty low option here, which is a great move. I explained earlier why it was so. But you can do a lower level of this 50-50 by doing, for example, up forward 3. Or you can do forward forward 4 and hope for a counter hit. But it's still a very good move on its own like this. And for a low option, you can do down back 4, which is only -12, and which is a great move. While standing 1-2 is actually pretty decent because it's got better tracking, as you can see. Note that I actually catch him stepping. Very stepped it. So yeah, it's not totally reliable. Oh god. But yeah, it does track somewhat. So it is his best option, you know, when it comes to, oh, I'm gonna do my mid launcher now from my 50-50 dash, and he might step. He might have an opportunity to step there. So I'm gonna go with twin pistons, which will more often than not catch people to step if you time it properly. But it's quite hard to do. For more information on this, how to do the twin pistons out of a crouch dash, please check out, that's with forward momentum, please check out the wave dash guide below in the description. It will help you. But that was in essence what Kazuya's 50-50 is. And it's dashing forward and doing a low or a mid, and we don't have to always do the meaty options. We can go for this, play it more safe. So yes, that's the 50-50. And now I want to discuss Okiseme a bit, which is the ground game in Tekken. When your opponent hits the ground like this. What we do then. And it's usually very popular for, let's see, I'm gonna hit stand. Stand up. Not set. So now he stays grounded. Historically, this has been a very good thing to do versus Kazuya. When you eat a hell sweep by Kazuya, you don't want to tech roll needlessly or back roll, because you're just going to stand up again into Kazuya who's dashing towards you and who's going to once again do a 50-50. Bad situation. So a lot of people actually, after a hell sweep, they might just lie down, you know, because here, worst thing that can happen is he goes in and does a slow stomp. That's what it has usually looked like. But they actually put in an incentive now for people to get up, and it's Kazuya's new forward forward 4, which is a fantastic move in many different ways. And we're going to talk more about this later, but here, just know that you have one of the best ground hitting tools in the game. So when it comes to Okiseme and ground game, well, yeah, start abusing this move. And if people are staying on the ground after you combo them, like this, because they don't want to stand up into another 50-50 or whatever, know that you have that move. It's just completely changed Kazuya's Okiseme. I can't speak well enough of that move. And if they do a get-up kick, you're going to counter-hit them into a juggle. So it's a fantastic move. And of course, Kazuya has a stomp, which is good. Which, if they quick stand here, is going to hit them as they're standing up for good damage. I can actually show what that looks like. If he stands... Oh, shit. That's going to hit low, as you can see. So he has to block it ducking. And his stomp is good, it does a decent chunk of damage, but it's been almost entirely made needless, you know. You don't really need it now that you have this move, it's just way better. And his down back 4 in certain angles will actually hit grounded, which is very good to know. So yeah, take that with you, that down back 4 can also be used on grounded opponents. And of course his down forward 3 hits people who are lying on the ground. I'm going to actually have him lie down again. Thank you, Kazuya. So as you can see here, this hits. And interesting here is that if they actually stand up as you're doing that, they're going to get floated. Like so. Well, they're going to get floated when they do certain types of stand-up techniques. But of course they will slide away from you if the down for 3 hits grounded. It's just a good thing to know. And that's about it for Kazuya's Okiseme. All I really had to say was do forward, forward, 4. Such a great move. But recap, forward, forward, 4, just amazing ground hitting tool. Down forward 3, hits grounded. Down back 4, in lots of angles, hits grounded. Very good to know. And Kazuya has a dedicated stomp, which is not super fast. As you saw, I missed it from here lots of times. So the range is not amazing either, but it's still a stomp. Good to have. Yes. So, I'm going to talk more about Kazuya's punishment now. Let's see, we are going to go in here. Oops. Like so. We are going to record Kazuya doing something that's super minus again. Well, I'm gonna do whilst... Okay, I can't input a while standing too. I made it. Amazing. Yes, so I'm going to go over his different punishment options. And I just did this, I'm sure you remember, at the start of this guide, but we can talk about these more in detail. So he has 1-1-2. This move has a very unique knockdown effect, where they slide on their butt. As you can see, it slides on his ass. This knockdown, that animation is very slow, giving us plenty of time to dash forward and try to do something obscene and very evil on our opponent who's trying to stand up. So 1-1-2, it doesn't do the most damage, but the wake-up situation is great and often actually makes it better to use than back 1-2. Back 1-2 does 8 more damage and wall splat, so at the wall, of course you're gonna go back 1-2. But out in the open, the knockdown is nowhere near as good. Just nowhere near as good. And it recovers quite slow. So 1-1-2 is great for pressure. So this is great to know. And then I also want to go over this 12 frame punish, 2-2. So remember now, back 1-2 is 11. 2-2 here is 12, but it does huge damage. 3 damage more than back 1-2. And it leaves them standing next to you, and you have a plus 6 frame advantage. So this means if I do a down forward 2 after here, it's uninterruptible. And I would hope for a counter hit doing that. But if I just block after, I can go for a mix-up, you know, mid-low. This punish, I don't use it that often, but it's actually quite good. So if you're interested in frame advantage situations with the opponent standing next to you, go for it. It's pretty damn decent. And of course, I don't have to mention again, electric, very good. Yeah, this is his launch punish option, available at 13 frames if you can perfect electric, but you should, if you have a decent electric, you should easily be able to 15 frame punish with this move. You should be able to do it. So that's Kazuya's standing punishment. And now we're going to take a look. Oh, Jesus Christ. Going to take a look at his I'm gonna re-record that actually, like so. We're gonna take a look at his ducking punishment, and we are at 11 frames while standing 4-4, which is pretty decent. And if you do while standing 4 on its own, it leaves you at plus 6, so you have a huge advantage here. So this can actually be, often it's almost better to not do this. Not go for full damage, but go for while standing 4 and into a mix-up. can be better. Up to you, of course. Of course, if this kills, go for it. So that's 11 frames. 13 frames, twin pistons. One of the best while standing launchers in the game due to its speed. The range is a bit lacking. So if I block this from far away, it's probably not going to miss. No, it's not gonna miss. But it has got pretty crappy range, so there are a couple of sweeps you'll block and it's going to whiff. But 13 frame launcher, amazing move. One of Kazuya's trademark techniques. 16 frames while standing 2. So this move is minus 18, so it's very risky. Twin pistons is minus 12. So while standing 2, minus 18, very risky, but it's a homing move and it's got great range. More range than you'd think. It's a great move. And leads to some pretty devastating combos. So that's it for Kazuya's while standing punishment. And now we are going to take a look at pokes and throws. Kazuya is not the best poker. If we take a very universal Tekken move, like the down forward 1, most characters have a 13 frame down forward 1. Kazuya's is 15 frames. This is very unusual and it's very bad. It's just, yeah, Kazuya's poking is not very good. And I'm going to explain in detail now why it's not very good. It's one of his greatest weaknesses and why we don't see Kazuya a whole lot at tournaments. Because tournaments are about awesome spacing and poking. And yeah, Kazuya's poking is what it is. So, sorry about that, I had to burp. So, Kazuya's poking. What are his good pokes? While standing 4, as mentioned previously, you should be able to do this out of a dash. It's plus 6, so huge advantage. And if it hits on block, it's very neutral. So it's not that you're in a big disadvantage. You can step after it on block and hope your opponent retaliates, whatever. It's a great poke. However, it's quite slow as you have to do it out of a crouch dash or from a duck. So you always have to add that to the speed of the move. Sure, it's 11 frames from here, from the duck, but you have to go down into the duck or do the crouch dash. So it's fast, but it's not super fast. And then of course his down forward 1, also very steppable to the left, and 15 frames. So it is a usable poke, it's got decent range, and on hit, as you can see, the opponent flies up, you know, and you get a big advantage. So that's great, but it's very slow. Kazuya can't keep an opponent in check like Devil Jin and Heihachi effortlessly with their down forward 1s. And Kazuya can add down forward 1-4, which can serve you very well at lower ranks, but in high ranks and intermediate ranks, people are going to duck this, and you're going to get killed. I myself, I find this to be useless, this one, down forward 1-2, outside of combos. In combos, it gives this spike to the floor, and if your opponent doesn't do the tech, it's guaranteed, forward 4. So that's good to know, but out in the open I just don't use this. It's actually pretty good to the back, as it guarantees while standing 4 into some shenanigans. So know that's a cool setup. If you step, go for this into while standing 4, and then usually this hits unless they do something really weird. Usually get fully guaranteed. Yeah, it's just really good to know. But I like this version. This is minus 12, so it's quite risky. But I play versus very talented players, and usually they think this is coming, so they duck. And then the second hit wall splats, and yeah, I get big damage. Not like that. This is what I wanted. Big damage. So down forward 1-4-2 is actually pretty good. Natural combo, 33 damage. That's just as much as back 1-2. Just remember that it's minus 12. But I like that poke. So forward 4, it's a fantastic poke. It's, as I said, on hit, I think it's +6. On block, it's +3. So it's one of those really awesome pressure tools Kazuya has. As you can see the block stagger there. Only problem with this move now is that usually, you know, we don't use it from standing still like this. We do it with a dash. And as forward, forward, 4 now is this move, it's quite technical to do this out of a dash, the forward 4. So you have to input forward 3 times. Forward, 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 4. Forward, 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 4. Well, can you understand what I'm saying? So that's kind of difficult. From a crouch dash, you do a crouch dash and then input forward, forward, 4. So yes, it's not very easy, but it's a great move. Yeah, I just can't recommend it enough. It's easily one of his best moves. If you see pro Koreans play, you will see them abuse the shit out of that move. It's fantastic. More good pokes with Kazuya. Forward, forward, 4 is a great move. It's got huge range, as you can tell here. And with the pushback, it's safe, I would say. It is actually -10, but for them to punish you, it almost feels like you have to do it like this, with your back towards the wall at close range like this. You will eat a 1-1-2. But out in the open like this, it just knocks too far away. Let's see, stand. On counter hit, launch. So it's very powerful, and I covered the ground game aspect of the move previously. It's a great move, and on normal hit, it's +5. So what this means, the +5, I'm going to show you now. I'm going to do like this, repeat action, record. Oh, sorry, I'm actually gonna do a standing jab. Okay. Okay, but what I'm trying to show here is that the +5 frame advantage is so huge on when it hits that if I do a down forward 1, I trade with the opponent. Because I'm +5 and I'm doing a 15 frame move and he is doing a jab, so we're going to trade. So my 15 frame move, -5, which is my frame advantage, turns into 10 frames, and his jab is 10 frames. So that is why, under these circumstances, me hitting here, oh shit. As you can see, we are going to trade. Because after the move hits, I've set the CPU to do an attack, to do the jab. So we trade. But if I would do, of course, down for 2, of course, it's only 14 frames. It's not 15 frames. So he's launched. It's stuff like this you really need to know when playing Kazuya, like the frames. Yeah, I hope I've explained now why forward 4 is a very good move. Why it's a good ground hitting tool, why it's a good counter hit launching tool, and why it's pretty fucking decent on block. I mean, of course, you are minus a lot on block, so it's not going to give you momentum on block. But it's pretty good to have a safe counter hit launcher that's pretty fast. And on hit, +5. So this is uninterruptible. Down for 2 or down for 4. You name it. So that's very good to know. And of course, down for 2 is one of Kazuya's key moves, his key pokes. It's a very important tool. It's 14 frames, so it's just as fast as a regular electric. It is -12, however. So you are going to... I mean, if you face someone who's good, you're going to get this punished. You know, so you can't throw it out, you know, just crazy, you know, oh, I'm gonna do it all the time. But you're going to spam this a lot, because holy shit is it good. Good advantage on hit, like this. Not a whole lot of damage, but good frame advantage. on counter hit, you can perfect electric, but that's, you're going to leave that to gods like myself. What you will be doing is doing down for 2 into 3-1-4, like this. And you're hopefully not going to drop the combo. But this already is very, very good from a 14 frame mid-hitting launcher. And did I tell you that it's also homing? You can't sidestep it. Yes, one of Kazuya's key moves. If people step you a lot, down forward 2. Because chances are they might be doing a stepping attack, you know, an evasive attack, and you're going to counter it them and destroy them. Just remember that it's punishable, and legitimate players are going to punish you for this, but it is a great tool. So that's down forward 2. I feel like I've covered his key mid-hitting pokes. I mean, I do want to get into... I'm going to go into the lows, and then I'm going to get into some strings. So, down back 4 is his... I mean, this is his low poke of choice. Kazuya has a down back 3, but even on hit, the frames are kind of bad. It's got decent range. It does high crush, which makes me want to use it sometimes. And I can do it into this. Which is, I like this move. I'm gonna talk a bit about more soon. I'm gonna talk a bit more about it soon. I hope that's what I said. But this move is not very good. Down back 4 is where it's at. It doesn't have a crushing of down back 3, but kind of fast, and it gives a +4 frame advantage on hit. On block, you are going to eat while standing 4-4, as it's -12. But when you hit it, it's just a really good situation. And once again, I'm going to show you guys what happens if someone eats that and doesn't respect the frames and try to jab you. I'm gonna record that. I'll counter it. So down back 4. Here you see. Oh my god. So what's going on here? What's going on here is that I'm doing down back 4, and if he tries to attack me after that, and I do down forward 2, I have a move that's 14 frames. And 14 minus 4, the +4, is 10. And a jab is 10, so we have once again one of those situations where we are going to trade. And with the new system of Tekken 7, where trades are always counter hit, this is an awesome situation for Kazuya, because you get a huge advantage here when the down for 2 hits counter hit. You actually get a super easy PVGF launch here. Oh shit, and I actually managed to fuck it up. It is actually very easy. Let's see. Yeah. Oh shit. So you just have to wait there for a while. Oh god. Wait, electric. Wait, electric. So it's not at all the same timing as the super hard classic counter down for 2 electric. But this is super awesome to know. You gotta practice this, know how to do it. It's really good, really helps Kazuya. So, as you can see the damage here. So, this should explain to you why down back 4 is a really good tool in this game. It gives +4. And most people will know about down back 4 into down forward 2. So they will just stand there very afraid, you know, and respect your frames. And that's when you do down back 4. And you just do down back 4, step, down back 4, down forward 1. So Kazuya finally has a really decent low poke. And of course on counter hit, boom! It really hurts their leg. And they jump around like an idiot for 2 seconds. So big advantage. There's nothing guaranteed here afterwards. But it really is a good tool. And that's actually it for Kazuya's low pokes. That's what you will use if you're not using a hell sweep. That or this. He has the generic down 4, but this is minus 13, and it's rather useless if it's not for pressuring like this, for example, which can be cool to do once in a while to confuse your opponent, or for the very, very last poke, because this is the fastest low poke you have. It has its uses, but this is just way better. So that's it for the low pokes. I wanted to go through this move as well. This is the one move Kazuya has that actually crushes highs. So don't underestimate it. You know, if you Kazuya really feels good, you know, playing at this particular range here, where when people are in your face like this, it can be very hard. The hardest matchup for Kazuya is having Steve right up his face, because Steve is just going to pressure Kazuya like crazy, and it can be very hard to get out of that. So Kazuya likes this standing over here, where you can move around, where if people run up to you, you can electric, you get a decent sense of control at the, standing over here. But sometimes you might want to actually advance on your opponent, and you might want to do a dash electric, but that can be ducked or sidestepped. So instead of doing that, you can actually dash into this by doing a crouch dash, basically do a hell sweep, but 3 plus 4 instead of the lonely 4. It crushes a lot, it's mid, knockdown, but guarantees forward, forward, forward. That's actually true. Completely, oh shit, completely guaranteed. Good damage. Yeah, it's just really good. It is minus 12, so you're going to eat a while standing 4-4, as they will recover crouching and punish you. But if you are facing characters who do lots of jabs, you know, and highs, that's a really good tool to have. So I'm going to talk a bit about his strings as well. Well, I guess as I'm into pokes already, I've talked about down for 2 and while standing 2, but other homing moves he has is while standing 3, which is safe. They made it slightly faster. It used to be super slow, but it's still too slow. It is good next to walls. If people try to sidestep there, it wall splats. But it's not my recommended move. Back 4 is actually pretty damn good. It does on hit, it does that spin thingy where you get a decent advantage. On counter hit, it actually launches. You can't bound after here. Oh, that was nice. You can't bound here. You can only do a regular combo without bound. But yeah. Still a very good tool, and next to walls, it's going to wall splat. So, yeah, if you like this shenanigan, for example, which is the only super strong gimmick Kazuya has, a super fast unblockable that wall splats. What most good people do is that whenever you stand like this next to them, they immediately sidestep left because they want to dodge either a 50-50 or this unblockable, which is snappable to the left. So here you can just do back 4 very fast and will wall splat them. So yeah, a really good tool to have. So he has a couple of decent homing moves. So I want to get into poking now. Sorry, I am into poking, but I want to talk about strings. And Kazuya doesn't have the best strings. He has one string I really like, which is his down forward 3-2. I've already mentioned, you know, down forward 1-4-2, which I think is pretty good for reasons I mentioned earlier. Down forward 3-2 is pretty damn decent. It's mid-mid. You can delay the second hit a lot. And hope that they think that, oh, he only wanted to do the knee, and then you add it. It's really good. The second hit, as you can see on hit, it's just like down forward 1. You get that jump up stun where you are +9, I think it is. So it's a huge advantage. And most people will respect that advantage. So what I usually do when that hits is I go for a 50-50. and hopefully I guess correctly, you know, low or mid. So this is really good, but of course it's minus 12. So this is a punish, so it can hurt a lot to have that blocked, but a lot of people refrain from punishing that or attempting to punish it, and it's because of course you can add a third hit. And if you try to punish, yeah, that's going to fuck you up. It's going to lead to a huge combo if the Kazuya player knows what he's doing and dashes into dash electric. Yes, so oh shit. So that it's in my eyes that's a really good move. And of course, if they do block, if you use, you know, the full free hit too much, you are going to get launched. It's minus 15. Oh. So it's very punishable. But if you use only these two hits, most people will be very afraid to punish. And as I said, on hit, great advantage. You can delay the second hit, and we are both mid-mid. 1, 2, 4, 3 is a pretty cute string. You can even see it once in a while in Pro Tekken when we throw it. I mean, you can't do it more than once in a game, but you can actually do it. What most veteran players will do, people know what we're doing. As soon as they see 1, 2, they low parry. It's quite telegraphed. And you can even duck and block the third hit, and then launch Kazuya with a reasonably fast launcher. Yeah, while standing 2 is not going to hit, but you can always interrupt while standing 4, and Kazuya can twin piston. So yeah, but if you do get a counter hit on the low hit, the second hit, the last hit is guaranteed for big damage and wall splat. So it's a pretty cute string to throw out, especially, you know, when a match is coming to its end, your opponent has low health, and you're both tilting, choking, you know, and suddenly this comes, and hopefully you catch him off guard, and the low hit kills him. So that's basically that string. And then we have, let's see, back to 4. Which is a string you're probably going to enjoy a lot at the lower ranks. You're going to get away with it. On hit, the whole thing is +6. So it's great frame advantage on hit. On block, it's rather neutral, so you're not at a big disadvantage. So the string just sounds awesome, doesn't it? I mean, starts with a mid, good on, great on hit. It's a natural combo if the first hit hits, the second is guaranteed. But the problem is, of course, the second hit being high. A good player is just going to do this immediately, you know. You're going to get wrecked badly doing that move. So yes, I never use this string. You might see me once in a while do it, hoping to catch someone off guard. Usually by doing this, because a lot of pro players don't anticipate someone actually doing that full string, because yeah, it's so rarely seen. But the full string is -14, I think. So we can get down for 2, but down for 1 is gonna get blocked. Yeah, that was not a punish. So it's very difficult to electric this. It's not going to get launched by hop kicks or down forward 2s. So it's not as risky as you'd think, but of course it is risky. So that string is just not the best, in my opinion. And I've actually just showed you the strings you would be using. Kazuya is this non-complicated when it comes to the amount of moves he utilizes in his arsenal. It's just down to a couple of key moves and fundamentals like spacing and knowledge, good punishment. So that is actually it for poking. I'm gonna show his throws. He has forward 1+2 Stonehead, which if they do not tech roll the knockdown, you can get a forward 4. As you can see under the life bar there, it's red, so it sees it as a combo, but people can of course tech roll the knockdown. But if you anticipate the tech roll, and you should do because most people tech roll, you can do a 50-50. So it's a great throw. I don't use it as often as I should. And Kazuya has, I'm showing the command throws now. And he has, from crouching, down forward, 1+2, Gates of Hell, I think it's called. Great throw, can do it out of a wave dash. 40 damage, and they recover slowly with their back towards you. So if I electric here, for example, as you can see, he could not block because it hits him from behind. So the advantage you have after here is pretty fucking good. And a lot of people just lie down after that because they know the advantage is huge. And that's where forward 4 comes into play. Great move to utilize there. And it's especially annoying to eat this throw next to a wall. We're going to have to stand like this. Like that, you know. That hurts a lot. So the Gates of Hell, great throw, and it's very fast out of a wave dash. It's a very good option to have. 1+3, not super duper Okiseme. I like to do forward 3 here and hope they back roll or do a get up kick. 2+4 is a much better throw. They also recover with their back towards you here. So if I go down forward 4, I hit them in the back. So good throw. That's if you want to do a default throw, you will be doing this throw. Yes, that's it for Kazuya's throws. There's not a, I can show the wall splat of Stonehead. As you can see, we can do max damage like this. Yes, I'm going to talk a bit about Kazuya's combos now. And Kazuya does really well with combos. He's got huge damage, especially his wall combo, which I've demonstrated a couple of times now in this guide, is extremely strong. I'm gonna show combos from electric and twin pistons, I think, and forward 3. So if you're very new to all of this, do this combo. Down forward 1-4, hell sweep 1. And this is if you're very new to this. Go for this combo. You can do it from any launcher. So it doesn't get needlessly complicated, you know. Twin piston. Do that. When you're slightly better, do this. Down forward 3 into what you just did. Once again, you can do this from any launcher. Okay. That's the beginner stuff. When you really want to get good damage from Kazuya, you start doing his proper staples. And the easiest one is 3-1-4, down forward 1-4, like that. 3-1-4, down for 1-4, like so. And it also works from the twin pistons. It does not, however, work from forward 3. So I would keep up with this at this level. What you should aspire to, however, is doing double electric into whatever. These are the strongest staples. Oh shit. Awesome. This is the combo I use. So it's 68 damage. good shit. If I want a longer wall travel, I can just do this. Triple jabs. You can do this. One more point of damage. Oh my god. This combo does 69 damage. But of course it's a rather technical combo. And I do this combo from Twin Pistons, for example. And this is a concept I'm going to try and explain now to you guys. Because you might be thinking, why don't you just do CD41? It does 56. What I do is much more difficult. Dash into back 3-1 electric. And it only does one more point of damage. So you might be thinking, are you just doing that to show off for one more point of damage? What if you drop that? Well, I don't drop it. I can do it every time. But there's actually a good reason for this combo. And this goes into combo theory in general. It's that rather than get a couple of points of damage more in a combo, it's much more important to create an advantageous ground game situation where you can get a new mix-up in. That's worth a lot more damage. So that's why I do this combo, and with the electric, which recovers super fast, I'm going to give myself more space here. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna start at the opposite wall. If we end a combo with an electric, we recover much faster than when we end combos with Hell Sweep 1. So I'm gonna show here, I'm gonna try and chase down the opponent now. Yeah, that's not bad, but it's not very, doesn't pressure a lot. Now with electric, I'm right at its face immediately. And it's because the electric, of course, recovers so fast. So, that is why I end combos with electrics often, and why I would advise you to do the same. Because getting 1 point more of damage on a combo is nothing compared to being in his face as he is standing up or whatever, and doing another mix-up, you know, or getting something like this on block. You want to get the next launch, the next hit, the next advantage. Yes. I have now showed you his combo capabilities on open ground. So now we're going to talk a bit about what we do at the wall. And this is his wall staple. I'm not going to show any other combo here on the wall, because this is one you have to learn. Oh my god. So it's while standing 4, down from 1, 4, 1 plus 2. It's his max damage. In Tekken 6 and Tag 2 we did this, down for 3, 2, 1. We delayed the last hit, but as you can see, 53 damage. And the new combo is going to do 61, I believe. Oh, I'm getting a slanted wall splat here. I could just reset, I guess. Yes, 61. So yeah, big damage, 8 more damage. So you do want to learn how to do this, but it's easy after a while. You'll get used to it, and there are some ways of, as I've showed you, to increase our damage. You can do backdash, back 3-1 into that combo. It's difficult to do, but it adds some damage, so it can be worth learning how to do this. So backdash, back 3-1. You have to time it a bit. Yes. We can even do sidestep into down forward 1-4. This is the most damaging 2-hit solution to resplat them. And it's quite easy to do. You can also do 3-1-4, but this is much more technical. Oh shit. There we go. And not really worth doing unless you get a slanted wall splat, where it's suddenly much easier to do. And you can electric like that. Yes, and I explained at the wall that the unblockable is very good. Now that I'm talking about walls. And the electric, as shown in the EVGF guide, you can frame lock them like that. There's nothing he can do here other than duck, and then I can wall splat him with a mid, or yeah, you get the drift. This is explained in the EVGF guide. We're gonna take a look at his rage options, which can be very, very useful, of course. Let's see, we're gonna set this to default. And I'm going to need some rage. So, Kazuya's rage art. Oh, I have guard on, I just realized. Nothing really special about it. It's kind of slow, not super slow, standard rage art speed, I guess. Slow compared to Jin Steve. It's got decent range, I guess. Pretty decent. Hits mid. But we're going to talk about his rage drive, which is amazing. Huge range, as you can see. Tracks well, will often hit people who step, which is great considering Kazuya needs those types of moves. You can transition into Devil by holding up forward. And for a guide on Devil Kazuya, I have that on YouTube. Just search for it, Devil Kazuya Guide Tekken 7. It should help you out with Devil. So yes, and his rage art, oh my god, goes very well in combos. As you can see, I get huge damage. It's very good on block. It's +7, I think, so you get a mix-up afterwards. It crushes like crazy, so it's gonna crush a lot of highs and mids, actually, not lows. So it's a crazy move. And it's going to do huge damage on a low wall hit, as you can see here. That's insane damage. I'm actually gonna see what the damage is from our perfect. If I can actually perfect electric. Okay, I messed it up. Sorry guys. Indulge me. I just want to see the entire life bar disappearing. I got a small lag there. But this is good to demonstrate like what his potential is combo-wise if you have the execution. Let me just look at that. Yeah, it's just crazy. Amazing rage drive. His power crush is forward 2, which is a pretty good power crush. I mean, decent range, mid, good damage, gives you a wall splat, so it can be good to use, especially next to walls. Nothing super spectacular about it, but a pretty fucking decent move. So that's actually my guide to Kazuya and everything I wanted to cover, and I'm wrapping this up in 1 hour, which is decent, I guess, as we had a lot to cover. But, so in conclusion, Kazuya is very difficult, relies on the electric a lot, which is a just frame, very hard to do. He relies on spacing, which is very hard to acquire. He has no awesome panic moves. It's all up to you and your knowledge of 40 characters. So, in many instances, you have to know your opponent's character as well as they know their character. And Kazuya has no surprises for anyone. Everyone knows how to play against Kazuya. Because he's very simple to see. It's very simple to see what he's going for, as I've tried to explain many times. The concept is easy to explain, but it's hard to acquire the skills. And that's what you use to overwhelm people. It's not 100 different moves and strings. You overwhelm them with your movement and your execution and your knowledge. So 100% skill is what is needed. But in conclusion, I really hope this guide helped you. Yeah, I just hope it helps someone out there.